Hello, welcome back to the Wisdom Well podcast. I am LJ,
And I'm Larry.
and we are back for another episode
Yes,
of
we are.
Creatively Speaking.
Come on.
You know, we talked about a lot about me and my creative process in our last episode.
Which would be enough. I mean,
it's never
the wisdom that you bring creatively is
here at the
come
Wisdom
on,
Well podcast.
unmatched.
Your wisdom is what's
God
keeping us
level even.
is your wisdom that's keeping us afloat.
Oh my goodness. No, you're amazing, man.
We wanted to dive into Larry's creative
Oh my
process.
gosh. Okay.
And
This is gonna be a short episode, y'all.
No. We about to do this for 30-something minutes.
AJ is like, yo, I'm glad this is gonna be a short episode.
You know what I mean? Man, so we want to dive into what your creative process is, what inspires you. You know, when did you want to become this artist that you've become and the singer that you've become? Tell us about how you became, you know, this Larry Beast Walker that we're sitting in front of right now.
First of all, you are too kind. And the reality of the matter is that I am still working and becoming, and I'm still learning and working. I think that is just, I think that's the thing. I love to to be challenged and to try new things. I love team win. One thing about me is that
we can speak an hour on team wins. We can
sure
speak an hour just on that
we
alone.
sure can. And the other thing that I do love is I work hard to be a generous leader. And I'm not always successful, but I work hard. I think that it's best when there's not just one person who's leading all the things. You know, I feel like I said with the team win. I believe that it's important to not be the smartest person in the room. And I've been in a few seasons in a few spaces. Yeah.
Let me ask. Have you always been a leader? Since you were a kid, did you were you always no, these go here?
You know what's so crazy about what I'm learning?
You know your sister's watching this, right?
I know, right. No, she's gonna be like, oh yeah, that was him, bad kid. But I feel like no, I've not always been that person who was like, I came from another space. I think I came from another space in that I was always the person who I didn't mind being second or helping, you know?
Okay.
I didn't mind that. And so, and I think that's really interesting about how the type of leadership that I do now is really important. Yeah. I don't have to be the number one. I don't have to. Wow. I am strong enough to take on lead and to lead. But I don't get a thing from lauding over people or telling people that I'm the leader.
That's a gift. That's a gift.
I have a really strong desire to see people win, you know, and to see people get to their greatest selves. And that's the educator in me. And so I feel like that's the piece. Even when you asked me, the second that you asked me even to do this podcast, I was like, absolutely, because it seems like we'll be able to talk about the things, you know?
Yes.
And I've also been in spaces where I've been hurt by leadership. So I've just had this sort of bank of knowledge that's been building. And God has given me an opportunity in this season to be a leader. And not that I'm perfect at all. I know I'm already making mistakes, but I feel like that's a part of it, is just wanting to make sure and create something great, you know?
I love this topic, goal. Creatively speaking, because you said something that really just came to mind. Leadership can either advance your creativity or digress your creativity.
Oh my gosh, it can.
Touch on that, if you will. What challenges do you see that leaders are maybe not helping people become their best selves?
The leader is not helping people to become their best self.
Sure.
I think that can happen in spaces where the team or the individuals who are part of the community that are being led, that they're not loving on their leaders, you know, or they're making it hard for the leader. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's something I'm learning even now. I think it's two sides to that coin.
Okay.
So either, the leader is pretty like toxic and wanting to kill people.
We have an episode about that.
and yeah, we do. And but then also too, sometimes the support can be a little toxic too. And so I think that once it's not the right soil. And so I feel like as leaders and as people, I think that we've all been given some sort of seed to plant and to grow and to fertilize and to make sure that it, it's a gift to give into this earth, right?
Yeah.
And a God-given gift. And so some of us are really fortunate to be able to give that gift, but on our travel to its destination where it's supposed to be planted, we have partners and we have individuals or teams or to help us. And sometimes, those people who are serving with us may not understand, and it's hard because we can't share everything.
Yeah.
Because the ultimate, the instructions have been given to you, not given to this other individual, but this other individual is kind enough to give their time and their sort of resource of their life to help you plant the thing.
Yeah.
But that the thing that you are planting actually is for the whole community to eat, you know?
Yeah.
And so in that process, it's just confusion can set in. And it takes like a strong leader to say, hey, something's being confused and we got to take a step back.
I see. I see.
And it hurts. It hurts. So I think sometimes in that process of sort of moving or taking a left or taking a right, whatever that leader or that individual who's responsible for that seed getting in the ground, if they have to make a shift or a step, maybe there might be some sort of not support or and then the leader could feel alone and I think I talked about last time it's basically making sure that leader is able to participate in the community that he or she is serving. I think that's a huge. So when that connection is lost, sometimes what will end up happening is that it'll kind of disintegrate a little bit. But also either the thing will get built on the backs of individuals, that's not always great.
I've seen you as not a leader. I've seen both coins of you, right? I've seen you be able to lead people, and I've also seen you be able to follow very well. What are the two things that you could give that would help somebody on the leadership part? Like what are in the following part? Like what are the two things that these two entities need to know?
I got you.
When in those positions,
Yeah. If you're a leader or a perceived leader, learn how to follow.
Wow.
Know how to do both.
Wow.
Because I think that's the thing is that I think that's tough, and I'm realizing it now because I've been following people for a long time, and I was content to stay there.
Sure.
And it's like if you are a leader, learn how to follow.
Okay.
And then if you are a follower, learn how to continually pray for your leader and to try to really do everything in your power to protect your leader.
So prayer and protection.
For your leader. Ooh. Because I think those are the thing. If you can do that, and I feel like and we've said this before, I feel like that's the admission price to future leadership. Is following well. Because a lot of people, I think that if you are in a space where leadership, in general, leadership is not easy. It's not easy. And so any extra weight that you add on your leaders, it's not welcome. because your leaders are good, or they want the best for you. I mean, I think there are probably some leaders that they deserve every bit of the weight on top of them.
Because
I've been one of those leaders too. I've been one of those leaders too. But for the most part, it's like leaders are should be loved, and they should be in the sense of not lauded. You're not lauding over them, but they should be encouraged.
Man, so. I've dealt with this being a leader myself in different situations. Yep. How do you keep your love for the thing while leading and having that heavy weight?
That's
like
great.
Shed some light on that, because I know I've dealt with like being in a leadership position and feeling like, man, I don't even love this no more. You know, and I know as much
that's a real thing.
As much as you can share, right? Because I know that in some leadership positions that I've been in, I've wanted to quit the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like this is not what I signed up for, you know? But you know, how do you keep going after you feel like, ooh, this leadership weight is heavy?
Oh my gosh. It's literally day by day and case by case.
Yes, okay.
Because sometimes you can, and the very thing, and man, what do they say? What's that saying? And again, I know I like I said, I always want to make sure you guys understand my context, which is the faith space. That's where I work. That's where I've been privileged to be a part of, you know? I think that sometimes, like when they say like, you know, when you're closest to God, the devil screams the loudest. And so I think that's the thing. It's you know, you have a vision, you've been given a vision, but trying to translate that into you know, into the people that you're working with, you have the privilege to serve. And then also too, I think some of the things that get a little tough is seeing I think that parents who listen to the podcast may be understanding. When you are a parent, you want to do everything to protect your babies or your children. And then you begin to realize that you cannot do that. And there's a frustration, you know? You want to be able to just tell them, hey, well, why don't you just do this? And you realize there are some things that they're going to have to, like, you know, skin the knees. They're going to have to bump, you know, their elbows. They're going to have to go through the pains of those. And that's tough for, I think, a parent or a person who wants to see the best. Or a person who is protective in nature. Or a person who, and I'm giving different definitions of what leadership can be. Person who takes responsibility for people, you know, because I think that's the thing. There are a lot of leaders that sometimes they don't take responsibility for people. They just want to say, hey, I told you to do that. When it's all printed and in a nice little package of bow, they want to say, oh, I told you to do that. But they are not the people that are like going through the fixing of the copy machine, not even work, don't even know how to work a collator. You know, don't know how to work they ain't even done any of the work, you know? But yet they want the glory of it. And the glory is I feel like, and I don't think God lives in the glory. I think he lives in the journey. You know? And I think there's some people that's where teams are made of. Like, and I mean, we've had the privilege of serving on some teams together, and I felt like that was the thing that was huge, because once you have that group of people who you know you can walk through that fire with, and they all want to do the work, and they see each other's skill set. That's, I think, there we go. Now that's the creativity. Once you see each other's skills.
That is the most glorious thing to
and then
ever
I'm
be
working
a part
to
of.
highlight you.
You're
working to highlight this person. We're all working and we're standing. That's creativity.
And I'll even add to that too, where it's like, even though we're working together, and we will at some points have disagreements.
Of course.
Our disagreements are even in love.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's talk about the disagreements, because that's good.
Because we've been in situations before where we just didn't agree on the direction, maybe, or the turn, maybe, whatever, right? But even that was done like with love and honor and respect. And I think that even when you're in a creative setting and you're trying to get to a destination or a particular goal, the best way is just to work together in love, even if there's a disagreement. And I know that, you know, and I want you to speak to this, like, disagreements can turn toxic, bro, and they don't have to, but sometimes they do.
And I think you were with me. There was like a phrase that kind of came into place. It's like, don't pick it up. Because some things, it's like, that's like little bitty little things for the enemy.
It ain't yours to pick up, bro.
Enemy be laying down these little toxic, poisonous sticks.
There you go pick it up.
You pick it up, and then the poison's on your hand, and then you wiping your eye, and you know what I'm saying? You just wiping your tears away, just natural. But you got this, it's like.
And that wasn't even for you.
It wasn't even for you. It was a trap. And so I think that's a huge deal, and I think that you're right that when you're in groups, because it can happen where it's so many chiefs in the room, and everybody, and you got to step back and say, hey, everybody in this place is trying to make this go well.
That's right.
There's nobody in this room that wants it to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's about, and that's when the leader needs to follow. And that's when or it needs to be encouraging everybody to let's erase the term leader at this point.
Yeah.
Let's just all come together, whether that's volunteer, call yourselves
Whatever.
people who want this to happen.
Yeah.
And then move like that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes that'll be helpful. Obviously, it's a case by case.
Sure.
But I would say that a lot of times that I've been in those situations, I do, lean and ask members of the people that I'm working with on projects or fellow producers or fellow, fellow creators, hey, what is this? What would work here? Because a lot of times the answer's in the room.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is in the room. And yeah, that's what I would do.
Man, I've to speak to that point, like I've always worked with, I won't say always, but I'll say I've always admired people that I've worked with that was collaborative in their leadership.
Yeah.
Like you knew they had the answer,
Mm-hmm.
but they wanted you to be a part of it too.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like they wanted you to have a say in the thing that they already kind of knew already.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I've learned that. I learned that little skill
favorite.
where you're like, okay, I kind of wanted to go, this direction, and I want to do it this way, but let's be collaborative in this effort too. You know what I mean? Because if it's just me telling y'all where to go, we're not in the military. You know what I'm saying? Like
a lot of people over time, initially that works fantastically.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a new team, telling them we're doing this.
Yeah.
Over time,
because structure is needed at the beginning.
Exactly. But I feel like over time, people begin to resent. They begin to feel like, well, I don't want an idea, and then it begins to all these small cracks.
Wow.
Start to kind of form in the idea. And that's the tough part for a leader, because it's like a leader is responsible for everything. And every idea can't come to the table and go, because there is, at the end of the day, someone who, like, let's say if we're just talking about, it works in all formats, but if there's a business and there are decisions made and someone is hurt, they're going to the leader. And then also, too, if you're singing at a service, if you're doing a show, and or a show, and there's a person who is, their decisions have been made to support in certain ways, or this many singers can sing these songs, and then someone steps out of the line of that, and people get hurt emotionally, and the team's suffering, then somebody's got to take responsibility for that. So these are just some examples.
Something that just came to mind, like I was watching this IG once with Kobe talking to one of his assistant coaches, Phil Handy, and Phil says, "Hey man, Kobe, like why are you such a a butthole?" He didn't say butthole, but he said something else
similar.
He said, "Man, do you really want to know?" He's like, "Yeah, I really want to know." And then Kobe says, "Man, I'm here first thing in the morning. I'm the last one to leave. These people are in here playing around. These guys ain't practicing. They're not working hard. Why would I pass them the ball? Why would I be cool with them? Why would I be nice with them, right?" And that made me think.
That's crazy.
Even in our space, how do you, as a leader, respect those who are not giving the same effort you're giving?
Oh my gosh, it's so tough.
You know what I'm saying? Because you do your best to come as a leader prepared.
Yeah.
And ready to roll.
Yeah.
And ready to, take over the game if you need to,
Yeah.
And, you hear Kobe's like, man, how could I respect my colleague if they're not working as hard as me?
How can I honor them when they are not honorable in that space?
Ooh, yeah.
Like they're desiring the shine. Because could you imagine, like with Kobe, when you pass to Kobe, and then the other element of that is that when Kobe passes you the ball, you're an extension of him.
And that trust
of his
is
decisions.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if he passes you the ball,
man,
and you decide to do whatever you want to do with it, mess it up because you haven't done X, Y, Z, you didn't come to the gym,
right?
You in your field, you whatever.
Yeah.
And then he passes you that ball and you fumble it.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Right. It's still Kobe's fault.
Yep.
You're just like, everybody's gonna be like, we don't know you because Kobe's the leader.
He's the captain.
He made a decision, and nobody's gonna be like, oh my gosh, he's such a generous leader. Those thousands of fans
like,
on that stage,
Kobe, you suck.
Exactly. Them thousands of fans who bought all that tickets, they're gonna be like, what in the world are you doing?
Why did you pass him the ball?
Yes.
When you didn't hit in here shooting.
But now I'll hear Kobe, but internally, Kobe is an enemy.
I'm not passing you the ball.
Yeah, he's an enemy. Kobe's an enemy. And people are mad at him. You showboating. You this, you that. But it's like, but it's really, and that's why I was even saying, even in the last episode, it's like you were talking about, we've come to a place where we're okay with being the villain in someone's story.
Wow.
Because the thing about that is true, like growth.
Yes.
Because at first, especially for people like us who were the presidents of, you know, all the branches of the people-pleasing club.
we had the building, we had the, you know. Yeah.
And not saying that we're perfect and that people are horrible and da-da-da-da.
No.
We're still learning through this thing too.
Sure.
But that is a fantastic analogy of the truth of and the weight of what a leader has to do, especially creatively. This is creatively. It's like every decision belongs to a leader, creative leader.
Yeah.
And they are responsible for it. So my question is, what are we doing to cover our leaders or to really make sure that they're covered in those decisions?
I think
so that the creativity can go to the next level.
That's right. I think like your leader, you should be doing that times 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If Kobe's in the gym from 8 to 5, you need to be in there from 7 to 6.
Yeah.
I need to be beating him to the gym.
Yeah.
I need to be shooting extra jump shots in the gym like him. Yeah. I need to be so that when he's ready to give me that, you know, that ball, I'm ready to shoot it.
Yeah.
You know, when you, like, as a leader, even in the church space, when you're ready to pass that baton on, I need to be ready to run with it.
Oh man, yeah.
And so I need to be as prepared as you, if not more prepared than you.
And in a spirit of community, not a usurper spirit. I know that's what you're saying. I'm just clarifying here.
Yeah.
But there's a usurper spirit, and then there is a partner spirit.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, every leader wants to have a legacy.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And the healthy leaders want a legacy. And the legacy is not a what. The legacy is a who.
Wow.
That's what I heard this from an amazing pastor.
Wow.
And the legacy is not a what. The legacy is a who. Wow. When you're like a healthy leader, you're trying to figure out who do you pour into. Ooh. So it's like, the Kobe's you're trying to figure out, because I think that when you come to a certain level in leadership, if your whole team is doing well, that's an indicator. If you have a rock star and then you're just a rock star on the team, that's good. But but if you are a rock star and your whole team are rock stars, and they all kind of know they're trained and they can swim, they're like, y'all like the Marines.
Yep.
You know, you're feeling safe with them, and, you know, and y'all are creating like crazy, because guess what? And you can create more if you multiply your leadership.
Yeah.
So I think so,
someone's at the front door.
So
I love that.
So I think that's really good, you know.
Okay, I had one more thought before we go.
You know who was at the front door?
Who?
Opportunity.
Opportunity. Wasn't that a commercial some years ago?
It probably was.
Opportunities at the front door. I think that's a commercial.
Opportunity to lead.
And by the way, we're not going to edit this out. We're going to keep. We're going to keep this. Okay. One last question before we end this episode. We're at the end of 2024.
Okay.
2025 is coming up.
Yep.
What are your goals or expectations?
Oof.
Or maybe just like, you know, what are a couple of wins you want? I know this is this is good. What do you want for 2025 as a leader? Or you can speak from a leadership position. You can speak from your creative, you know, desires. Like, what are you looking forward to in 2025?
You know, I'm really looking forward to doing what I just mentioned about the legacy piece, the who, multiplication of what I feel like I've been given grace to have certain knowledge and certain skills. I want to also continue doing it. You know, continue serving and leading and singing and worshiping. at a level that is that's even higher and greater, and right wherever God wants me to be. So I think that's where I'd like to be.
I love that. That's your heart.
Yeah,
I love that. This is a good episode. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you guys.
Yo, creative talking, man. Like I love this. I love being able to talk in different, career walks and career paths and different, like you're in a position right now where you get to lead a spiritual, more faith-based ministry.
Yeah.
And that takes on a different texture.
It does.
And I'm glad you was able to share what leadership looks like, what following looks like, what hard works look like, and knowing that we're going towards the same direction. We're trying to reach one goal, and that's what God wants for us, and what He wants for His church. And I think that's really cool. I love
Thank you for letting me share, brother.
Absolutely,
I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Love you, man.
Love you right back,
Thank
brother.
you for joining the Wisdom Well podcast. I'm LJ,
and I'm Larry.
All right, y'all. We'll see you soon.
Peace.